All right, finally, I'm so sorry this took me a little longer. Now, herding dogs in the city. The most important thing that we need to understand about herding dogs is that they are incredible workhorses, right? They are so versatile, they are so smart, and they are completely capable of going off and working for hours. We need to look at the dog as what it's bred for and what your life would usually look like in the perfect setting. So no matter Kelpie, Gila, Border Collie, what would your life look like if you were in the environment that you were bred for? And how can I get as close to that as possible to make sure that you function in the way that is the healthiest for you, mentally, emotionally, physically, right? So when you, and feel free to send this to your client too, because I hope this is helpful to get into the right mindset when it comes to working with this dog. When you imagine this dog being on a farm and doing what it's bred to do, what would that look like? The farmer would go out and work the dog, and it's a constant directing the dog from a distance to go, stop, pause, change direction, go, stop, pause, go, stop. You know what I mean? There is a lot of communication between the handler and the dog. There's a lot of movement, but there's also a lot of control. When we look at herding dogs in pet homes, what is their job? What are we actually doing? What are we giving them to fulfill these biological needs that we have? Not only, it's not accepted, we have increased them in this breed to a degree that they are way stronger than in any other dog. One thing that is really important to understand is what's called the predation cycle. When the animal goes out, they try to find something. They usually start with orienting with their nose. They're trying to pick up the trail. They use their eyes to stalk. They're creeping around to get closer to what they are hunting. Then there's the chase, grab, shake, kill, consumption. Any herding dog is usually very weak on the whole possession and grab, kill, because otherwise you couldn't work them around the livestock. But they are very strong on the first part, the orient, the stalk, the creep. That's what they do all day, right? So in order to have them satisfied, because we cannot just ignore the parts of the predation cycle and pretend like our dogs are just pets that don't have those needs. Just because we feed them every day out of bowl and we just basically cut right to the end does not mean that they don't need to fulfill those parts, because they still have those innate needs. And they will pile up and eventually they'll spill out, they'll leak out. Does it make sense? So we have to find ways to satisfy those. Because if we satisfy them, then they don't have the need to fulfill them elsewhere. I give you the example of my Malinois, high prey drive. Whenever we're on a trail and he sees wildlife, it's not that he doesn't want to chase them. And I could just suppress them like many trainers do. Does that mean that he innately does not want to live that out? That he does not have those instincts anymore? No. I'm just telling you, you're going to get into trouble if you actually try to do what your entire body, mind, and soul tells you to do. So instead, I teach him that I will provide that chase for you. You're allowed to stalk, and we're doing that together. We're stalking around, we're looking at the wildlife. Then I give you a signal, and I provide the chase for you. And that is a conditioned signal. So you can use a clicker, for example. You can click, chase some food. Click, chase some food. And I can send you a video of how to do that if you're willing to, if you're interested in it. But what happens now is, because I have done that so many times and I have practiced that without the wildlife, it is a conditioned response that if I click or I make a sound that goes, every time I make that sound, you know that I will provide you a food chase. So if he now sees wildlife, I allow him to creep and stalk around for a little bit, and then I provide the chase. So he does not have to go chase the wildlife, it comes through me. So now it's suddenly an experience that we are having together versus you going off and doing your own thing completely disconnected from me. So that is the predation part, and the part of biological fulfillment and satisfaction that we need to understand. We cannot ignore that, especially with any working line dog, high drive dogs, herding dogs. If you want actual real change in their behavior, you have to take them as they are, see how you can satisfy and fulfill all their needs, and then create teamwork around that. So for biological fulfillment for a herding dog, anything that taps into what they would usually do out on the field, and I recommend that your clients actually look at videos of herding dog handlers and the dogs and see what they actually do, and then get creative together, find ways how they can give the dog similar experiences. Games like tripe ball, for example, is really great for them. Agility is great. Working with a flirt pole is great. And as you're doing that and you're providing the stalking and creeping and chasing for them, that's when you can start putting a cap on it. So it's really important that any session where you fulfill their needs, where you are providing something like that, you are letting them know that I now open the window in which we will work. And there's also a closure of that window. So every time I do any prey work, I satisfy my dog's prey drive a lot with a flirt pole, for example. I say ready. Ready means we're about to go do this work together. During this time, you're allowed to chase and you're allowed to grab and shake it and all those things. When we're done with the session, I say all done. All done means your work is done. You're not to pursue this toy anymore. You're not to pursue the chase anymore. We are done. And I do that after I have really satisfied that I have worked the hell out of you, right? And then it's an all done. The toy goes away. You're not to jump up. You're not to try to do it anymore. And that's where I can give you mild verbal corrections as well. For example, once the dog understands what all done means. Now, see how that can help you in the real world, right? If we have this working relationship and you know when I will provide something for you and when it's done, you can get the dog to understand that now is not the time to herd and work. So all these reactions towards vehicles and any moving bikes and people and all that is their drives leaking out because they haven't been satisfied. But the dog does not understand when I'm supposed to use them and when not. Just because a herding dog has a lot of drive that lives on a farm does not mean that they just mindlessly go and chase whatever. There is so much control on the dogs, right? But it comes through the work. It does not come through suppression. It comes through the work. So I hope that gives you a better insight into how we approach issues like that and what the owners can do. And that doesn't even have to be outside. Obviously, it's not going to be easy to implement these things around the biggest stressors yet. They can do a lot of that if they have a backyard or if they can find an indoor facility where they can work or in their house, simply to condition the automatic responses to the triggers. But there's also a lot of games that you can play to satisfy these different things. And it's as simple as holding a treat, and as the dog follows the treat, as soon as you release them with the yes, you throw it in the direction that they are looking. So you're imitating the stalk part, right? Stalking. You can even get them to creep a little. Boom, release. Does it make sense? So another resource that I would recommend you guys look into is, it's called predation substitute training. That's the overall umbrella for this concept. The person that has developed this is called Simone Mueller, Mueller. And if you look up predation substitute training, she's got, I believe, 2 different books out, but she's got some online stuff as well. But she's got very simple games, and she explains the substitution of the different stages very well and how you can do that. So Simone Müller is from Germany, where they are not allowed to have e-collars, for example, but you're allowed to have your dog off leash in a lot of areas, and there's a lot of wildlife like deer just walking through your backyard and everything. So she had to come up with a system that works without suppression and without aversives and corrections, which is a great addition in my opinion. She has built this up very well and explains it in ways that are very easy to understand for clients. So I would definitely recommend look into that one. She's got a great Instagram, can get the books on Amazon. And yeah, I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions about any of that stuff. I hope it helps you guys. Herding dogs, not easy to deal with, especially in a city setting. If it was up to me, I would grab them all and put them on a farm. It is quite challenging. So kudos to you guys for working on it. Just always keep in mind, what is this dog bred to do, and how can I satisfy that as much as possible? And yeah, have a look at some videos and you'll see how amazing these dogs can be if they actually understand that they need to work for us. Okay, I hope this helps. Have a great day.